Not a good weekend for the Philadelphia Eagles. There's a problem with the coach, there's a problem with the quarterback, a problem with the defense, but there is a much bigger problem, and I'll get into that. Phillies playoffs start this weekend. Mitchkov. Sixers had media day. We'll cover some NASCAR and a fun top 10. Be right back. iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. This is Philly Sports Talk. I'm Chris Amos, joined always by Bobby Cash.
Hi, eSports Radio fans. This show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all-brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Hey there, eSports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, iSports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at iSports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the iSports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop, including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at iSports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making iSports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
Well, you know now where to catch the show. You know now where to reach myself and where to reach Bobby. You know you need to order more Planet Jerky. And if you're sending out an invitation, you know what to do. Well, from the top, I guess we start with the Eagles. And Bobby, I'm going to let you take it away, but I think the problem is much higher than I mentioned earlier.
Well, shock value on the Eagles game, 0. The game went exactly as I envisioned it going. I mean, what's to think the Eagles were going to win? I mean, the team basically beat us the last 3 times. I mean, they can't beat that team. They did beat them on the Monday night game. But I'm talking about the playoffs. The wide receivers for Tampa Bay are just too big. They're just too big for the Eagles secondary. They can't stop them. Baker Mayfield could do whatever he wants. It's no surprise. All right, I just went on Twitter. I predicted the Eagles win 3 more games this year. Okay? They're going to beat the Jags, the Panthers, and the Giants once. That's it. You look at the schedule. There's no wins on that schedule. I just don't see it.
No, you can't be confident of them winning any game, even though you picked them to win those 3. I mean, at that point, you can't really be confident of them winning. I mean, they're 3-10 over the last 13. How's the coach still there?
He won't be much longer.
No.
He won't be. Something's going to happen. Oh, I disappeared. Something's going to happen that's going to make him not be the coach. I mean, there's got to be a change. Who they play? They play the Browns coming back off the break. If they don't have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, you can forget about it. They're not going to win that game. They're not going to win any games without those 2 guys.
Isn't this, though, the fault of Lurie and Howie?
Well,
they put this together.
You can't really prepare for injuries. I mean,
no, but the defensive side of the ball has not been addressed properly for years. And
no, that's what happens when you spend all that money on a quarterback. We've talked about this plenty of times.
Correct. Which was a mistake.
Yeah, it was a mistake the day they did it, and it's a mistake today.
It's a mistake. Look, it's a mistake in Dallas as well, in my opinion. And
yeah, absolutely.
You look around the league, it's been done, and teams are hurting. I mean, look at Cincinnati. You could say it a little bit in Buffalo. I'm not sure, but definitely Philadelphia, Dallas, and I don't know. I'm just.
There's only one guy in the league that's worth the money he gets paid, and
right.
You know who that. And he's in Kansas City. I mean, he's the only one that's where he can win games by himself. He could get 5 guys off the street, put them in the uniform, make them as wide receivers, and he'll win the game. I mean, it's that simple. He's the only guy worth the money.
Right. And the thing is, what he's already done makes him worth the money. And
right. Not just that. I mean, I do, and they do have full confidence that he can continue to do it. And he's probably going to do it for another 10 years.
Oh, I have no doubt. I look at a situation where if in the course of our lives, and probably in the history of the Phillies, and I'm not changing topics here. You'll see where I'm going. The best stretch we've had was from 07 to 12 with the Phillies. To 11, 07 to 11. Those seasons were really, really good. World Series twice, won 1. And then everything unraveled. And we're looking at a team now that hadn't won the division for 13 years. So you go back a number of years, the Eagles win the Super Bowl, and some things fell off. Carson Wentz wasn't what everyone thought. You went with Jalen Hurts. There was problems with the head coach, Doug Peterson. They got better. They got back to a Super Bowl. But are we looking at a situation now where they're going to run into exactly what the Phillies ran into from 2012 for a decade? And we might be looking at maybe not a decade, but close to it with what's going on with the Eagles. It's kind of that same situation. Yeah. At least it feels that way.
The NFL is hard to say that ahead of time because, I mean, it's so easy to rebuild the team and so easy to get back there so quicker in the NFL. You can go from worst to first. You look at what the Rams did a couple of years back. They won a Super Bowl. Wait, did I just catch myself? Did they not win a Super Bowl? They didn't win, right? They went to the Super Bowl, the Rams.
No, they won.
They won. Stafford won, right?
They beat the Bengals.
Yeah, I mean, those years went by. when I say they won, I'm thinking, wait a minute, the Kansas City beat them. They beat everybody.
It was the Bengals who lost, and then
Right.
they've been good, but they've been falling off as well.
Yeah, right. That's the year that the Bengals should have never beat the Chiefs. So yeah, the Rams lucked into a Super Bowl. Yeah, I mean it's like I'm saying, it's easy to build a football team quickly. It's better than baseball. You have to develop a farm system, make some great trades, develop players. It takes longer. Football, you can do it quickly.
That's why I said we might be looking at half a decade instead of a full decade of
Maybe.
decline.
The Eagles have money though, and they're willing to spend it. So I mean, you never know season to season. But if they continue to stick with Jalen Hurts, I think you're going to see stagnant. It's not going to go anywhere because the defense isn't good enough, and the offense he's not the quarterback for this offense. People say that Baker Mayfield, he stinks. He's better than Jalen Hurts. I mean, you saw it Sunday. He's a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts. I don't care what anybody says. He can throw the ball around. He can read defenses. He knows the hot receivers. There's a lot of guys. We could go on all night with a list that's better. All right, let's see. Maddox said you can blame Hurts, but having Brown and Smith out hurts a lot. I blame everyone. That's you. Well, it's tough to be good for a while. Players perform, then you got to pay them. Then eventually you run out of cap space. Well, yeah. Did they have to pay Jalen Hurts this much though for this long?
But the game was over essentially the moment it started, and then they got some momentum in the second half. I don't think they had enough momentum to come back and actually win that game. But once Hurts fumbled, which has been a serious problem, his turnovers, then it was over.
Yeah, he's become a turnover machine. I mean, at the start of last season, it's carried right over. That seems like everything that started last season is carried over.
But I don't know if people are looking at that 3-10 over the last 13. Oh boy.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that. Okay, they're 2-2. They were in the playoffs last year. But still 3-10 over. It's essentially the same team with the addition of Barkley, some changes on the coaching staff, and a little bit of changes on the defense, not for the better, the way it's turned out. But Sirianni's still there, and he's talking about going back to the fundamentals.
Shouldn't you already have been doing the fundamentals?
Well, you would think with a lot of the guys they have, the fundamentals should have already been ingrained when they got here. But
right. I mean, I watched a lot of the game on on my phone because I wasn't at home, and I was watching the play-by-play, and it seems like every tackle on defense is made by the same guy, Reed Blankenship. He seems like the only guy that can make a tackle. Nobody on the defensive line makes tackles.
Well, and what the other thing was that was a huge problem. Yes, the receivers are good receivers. Mayfield was getting the ball, but there's no coverage. I mean, they're wide open.
That's defensive scheme as well. That's not having confidence in your cornerbacks. That's playing a zone defense that
you can't.
They can't cover one-on-one.
No, and that's where I blame Howie Roseman for the situation, because he's put the team together. And look.
And because they can't cover one-on-one, you can't blitz.
No, you can't.
You can't leave them out on an island, because as soon as you blitz, it's a touchdown. I mean,
and the thing is, you play hard on first and second down, and then third down, it just seems like no matter what the down and distance is, you're going to give it up, and then we're back in the same boat.
Now go back to Atlanta. Why they look good against Atlanta? Because they don't have the receivers. They only had Drake London. That's the difference. Any team going forward that has wide receivers is going to burn the Eagles. They're going to get killed.
Yeah, and I didn't like some of I understand when you get into sports and it gets to be a problem with the excuses. Oh, it was too hot or whatever. Well, it's hot. It's hot for both teams.
Yeah.
And it's like I look going forward with the Phillies, and they put together a team that, when you look at everything on paper, should be a team that is where they are. And we shouldn't be having the conversation we're going to have coming up about this team. But we've seen for the last few years that the offense at times can totally disappear. And is that what's going to happen coming up? We
don't know our opponent yet. I have an idea who it's going to be. I had an idea. I had a feel. As soon as I saw the Mets Brewers was the series, I said, "There's no way the Brewers are going to beat the Mets."
My goodness, playing the Brewers in the playoffs is like having a bye.
It's like having a bye. The Brewers they're just a choke team. I mean, they are not playoff performers, and especially going to New York, it's over. They're not going to be able to go to New York and win that team. They're playing Milwaukee, Wisconsin. They're not ready for the big city. So
and I think it's one of those things too where
they're done.
Where I don't know how you can take out the hardcore fans, but the casual to just above casual baseball fans, you ask them who's the star on the Brewers. They're going to have a hard time unless you live in Wisconsin. Probably, maybe even if you do, naming one or two stars on that team.
Yeah, I mean. It's common era. Yeah, I know Maddox. As I said that, I thought of that. The games they're not going to be in New York. I get that. Right, all 3 games are in Milwaukee.
Oh, they are? Okay.
Yeah, they change it every year. But yeah, they won't be playing at home. But they don't have to play at home. There was a lot of Mets.
Apparently it doesn't matter.
Watch what's going to happen. So the Mets are going to win. The Mets are going to beat the Brewers. The Brewers stink. The Mets are the hottest team coming in. They're the Arizona Diamondbacks of last year,
and the Phillies of 2 years ago.
Yeah, so the Mets are that team that caught fire. You saw them catch fire right after London. They have confidence. They have just seems like they have that magic going. Where if they need a couple runs in the 7th inning, 8th inning, they're going to get it. No matter if it's Vientos, if it's Alvarez, Alonso, no matter who it is, they're going to get that.
Stepping up.
Lindor's hot. Yeah, they don't have the great starting pitching. What they have is guys that the Phillies don't want to face. Quintana. That's a guy who will get rocked by the rest of the Major League Baseball, but when he pitches against the Phillies, he's Steve Carlton.
Severino as well as who
Severino is another one we can't hit. These are just guys that have the Phillies number. They have it all. They have a singer as a leadoff hitter. I mean, what is this? What's his name? I'm drawing a blank on. I just looked it up too. Jose Iglesias. The guy's like an actual recording artist. How did they get this guy to play baseball? I've never seen this before. The guy has 4 million views on YouTube, and he's a baseball player. I mean, they have it all going for them. It's going to be tough to beat. I think it's going to be the Mets and the Padres. Actually, I think that's going to be your NL championship because they're hot as well. The Padres.
It would not surprise me, and I saw someone who had taken, I believe it maybe have been plus 25,000 for the bet that it would be the Tigers Mets World Series. And you think about that. Well, when the season started, yeah, you could have argued the Mets, but I didn't realize that about on the 11th of August, the Tigers had a 0.02% chance of being a playoff team. Wow, what they've done, and they won today.
That's amazing. They have Scooble, an automatic win.
Well, and the thing is here, what we've seen, and we've seen this as being Phillies fans going back 2 years. All 3 road teams have won today.
Yeah,
from the Royals to the Tigers and now the Mets. I don't think Atlanta's going to be the 4th. I really don't.
No, I think they played a doubleheader yesterday. They traveled across country. It's a really tough spot for them.
Yeah, and you look at that game yesterday. The first game was the game each team wanted. Yesterday was the game they went after and they wanted. I mean, what's going on with Chris Sale is a whole other issue that Atlanta can deal with. And it looked like Atlanta had it. The Mets took the lead. They came back. They got runs off Edwin Diaz, and then Lindor hit the home run. So, like you said, it just seems like things are falling for the Mets. And I don't see the Phillies coming out of this break being anything different than what we saw this past weekend in Washington, where at times they're just struggling to score. And now you have the situation where Ranger Suarez is a batting practice pitcher. I mean, if he pitches, it's a loss.
Yeah, that's where I'm reading Maddox's comment because I can see your point, but I see the Mets beating Wheeler. I can't see the Mets beating Wheeler in Philly, and then Sanchez at home is really good too. Okay, even if I give you those 2 games, where are you getting another 3 wins at? But see, the thing is, they don't have to beat Wheeler. All they have to do with Wheeler is survive 6 innings. He'll get to 100 pitches and be pulled because Major League Baseball's become a sissy sport as far as starting pitchers. They can't. As soon as they get to 100 pitches, their arm falls off the rest of their body and they can't pitch the rest of the day. So he'll be pulled at 100 pitches, and all they have to do is get a run or two off our bullpen, and the game's over, because that's what happens.
Because who's going to be confident sitting here right now saying that if Wheeler goes out and throws 6+ and throws really, really well, that the offense is going to put up enough runs to where what you just said, where the bullpen can come in and have a comfortable lead. That's not
right. Have no room for error. Instead, everything's going to be pressure, Phil.
Mm-hmm.
We're pretty much laying these games out exactly how they're going to go. But there's no way on earth that Rob Thompson has enough brains to start Sanchez in game 2. I just don't see him doing it.
No chance.
I just don't. He's going to pitch him in New York in a crazy atmosphere. It's going to be 4-0 before you can blink your eyes. He's going to give up 4 runs in the first. It's going to be the game will be over.
And here's the thing. I know it's only 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't. My confidence would be raised, but not to the extent to where I think I'd be fully confident. Even if the Phillies win game 1 and 2, I wouldn't be confident.
Right. Exactly. Just like Arizona last year. Same thing.
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
You got it. Cash and Chris tell the future. And we do. We do. How many times have we come on here and say we were wrong? I don't see that happen much. I would love to be on here 2 weeks from now and saying, I can't believe the Phillies are here, but we'll be right.
Yeah.
We always are.
It's tough because you just don't have that idea in the back of your mind where, okay, this week off, guys are going to get healthy. This week off, things are going to be fine. The pitching staff is going to come back fresh. They're going to look great. The lineup, hey, the guys that are banged up and weren't producing, they're going to produce. This lineup, you know it. They can turn it on at the flick of a switch. And come on, the Mets have been playing and playing and playing. And if they win this series, they'll be right for the picking. Same thing if the Brewers somehow come back and win 2 games here. Wow.
That's what we better hope for. Better hope for the Brewers to somehow get a game tomorrow and then we'll take the series. That's your only chance. Just don't see it happening.
No, I don't. And it's where's
all our viewers at? Where's everybody at tonight?
I know with all these losses and everything that's happened with the Eagles and the Phillies heading into the playoffs, I think they're preparing for the vice presidential debate. They're hunkered down and they're getting ready for that, or they were all tuning into the Mets game to see what would happen.
Yeah,
and what you brought up though was another thing to where we've seen a couple things here over the last few playoffs with the Phillies where you look at the manager and you just have to shake your head. I don't trust who he's going to make the starting pitcher, and I don't trust some of the moves he may make going forward with the bullpen, and I don't know what he's going to do with this platoon. I mean, you got to play Stott every day, right?
Well, he has been pretty much, right? I mean, he's your starting second baseman. It's going to be the standard lineup. I don't know what he's going to do at center field. That's the only – is he going to play Rojas?
Yeah, is he going to play Kyle Stevenson?
Or is he going to play, against a left-hander? He's going to put, Hayes out there and left and Marsh in center. I don't know. I can't see you putting Rojas in there. Just an automatic out. I'd save him for the late inning pinch runner. That's it.
Let's see. You can't say that, but the Astros haven't complained about the rest of the past.
They're the only team. They're the only team.
They seem they are the anomaly.
Yeah, they're the exception.
Yeah, and it's funny too because one thing we didn't mention was when you look at last year's World Series, neither team is back in the playoffs. I mean, you have the Rangers and you have the Diamondbacks. I mean, the Diamondbacks have nobody else to blame but themselves. They got themselves into that position by playing 3 games under 500 down the stretch.
Yeah.
And you knew, I mean, there was no chance yesterday either team was sweeping. Whoever won game 1 was going to throw game 2, essentially.
Yeah, they made the wrestling deal.
Yeah. See me. And it went, and it's it's not bothering me that Chris Sale is out. I mean, I would just like to have seen him pitching in the Braves series. But I mean, if he's out and the Phillies somehow get to a point where they're facing the Braves, which we don't see happening, but if they do, he's going to be back and healthy.
People were saying it was not true that he was hurt. I mean,
he's not even on the roster.
Oh wow! So he really is hurt. I mean,
he's got to be if he's not.
Because you would have had to throw him the second game. I mean, it was a playoff game. Wow! So he must have hurt himself warming up because he was fine the game before.
And I don't think him not pitching game 2 yesterday gives the Cy Young to Zach Wheeler. I don't see that.
It'll be close.
Oh, it'll be close.
Yeah, there'll definitely be 1-2. But I mean. It's good. I think they could rig it to make it a share, a tie.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know if that's ever happened. Cy Young. Yeah. One will get the Cy, one will be Young.
How many games we'll have the staff look this up because I still don't remember, but Cy Young won 500 games. I mean,
I want to say 541, something like that.
I know it was different back then, but
right, they got a decision every game.
Well, yeah, and when you went out there to pitch, I mean, if the game went 19 innings, you seemingly threw all 19. I've mentioned this on our show before. I don't know if I've mentioned it since we've been on StreamYard, but a couple years ago here in town, there's a baseball league, and the staff can pull this up to what this league is. It's a throwback to the original style of the game from the late 1800s to early 1900s. And they travel around Pennsylvania and other states, and they put on exhibition games. And they came here to this town because of Jimmy Sheckard, who is a relative of mine. And I got to throw out the first pitch and I got to watch the game, but they played the game under the original rules, which is just an amazing way to watch the game because on a fly ball, if the ball bounced and you caught it, it was an out.
Wow.
So it was so different. The one rule I found that was so amazing that they stuck to was they used one ball, and that ball had to be no matter where it went or what happened, had to be used through the whole game. I guess if it exploded, there was an issue.
That's why they didn't hit many home runs. The ball was destroyed.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And
that's kind of like it was in Little League. You'd have 3 balls for the whole game, and everybody'd have to search for them if they couldn't find them.
Yeah. Or you had that when you were a kid. You had that one wiffle ball that was perfect that you had just enough tape on it that it could stay together, and you kept. There'd
be times where we'd run out, and the umpire would look to us, and we'd go in that big canvas bag and find a practice ball, the best one we had, and throw it in.
Yeah,
Cy Young had 511 wins. There was one a stretch he started 55 games, 53 games, 53 games, and 52 games over the course of 4 years. He started 906 games, 815, and he threw 749 complete games. He also has the major league record for losses too, with 315.
He does. Yeah, we've lost some tennis balls in the neighbor's yard by hitting them over the fence. It was interesting to see the stat that came out though at the end of the season about Aaron Nola. I didn't realize he was, I guess, the only pitcher over the last, I don't know how many years it was, to start 32 plus games every year.
It's amazing. That's a guy that we thought would have arm trouble. They said his arm was only hanging by a thread, and he hasn't missed any games. It's crazy.
It is, and the only look, most of the time, and I think people know this. I mean, you come on here and we talk a lot, and we've been an extension of that 80s, 90s throwback Philadelphia negative sports fan. And Nola's had some really bad hiccups and really bad games and really bad innings that looked like, oh my goodness, what is this guy doing? And I still look back and say it's probably going to be a mistake signing him for all those years. I mean, obviously he eats up innings and all, but I've said a lot of bad things about him. So hopefully now everyone can see I'm not completely negative. I mean, that's impressive that he's been able to do that. And he's not been a guy who's gone out there and had a 9 ERA and had a record of 2-12 and things like that. I mean, he's had his struggles, but really impressive that he's done that. And they're going, and you look, let me ask you this question. When you look at this playoffs coming up for the Phillies, Give me 3 players that need to pull the Phillies through. Give me 3. If you have more, that's fine. If you have less, that's fine.
Well, what do you want? You want obvious ones?
They can be obvious.
I mean, obviously Bryce Harper needs to be Bryce Harper.
Correct.
That's your first one. I think Bryson Stott, the guy we mentioned earlier, he needs to have a big series. Hopefully, 2-3 hits a game, early on. And Christopher Sanchez, he's your key. He's definitely the key.
I was if I had to pick 3, and it's going to be different than your 3. Alec Boehm, because he's protecting Harper.
Okay.
Aaron Nola for sure. And then the guy who I think can make or break this for the Phillies, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but it's Jose Alvarado. He's going to be in there to get lefties out in important spots. Him and Strom.
Yeah.
And at times, I think depending, you got to go with Alvarado because Strom's 2 pitches.
And
usually just at a mediocre fastball.
Yeah, and another guy you want to add is Estevez. I just don't like the guy. I don't like I don't want him on the mound if we're up by 1 run in the 9th. I'm not going to be confident. Even when he gets through the game or gets through an inning, it's a fly ball to the wall. I mean, it's not like a soft contact. It's rockets.
Even that's what had to happen on Sunday.
Right.
Mean, if that ball's not caught, the game is at least tie.
Mm-hmm.
And the winning run standing on second or third base for the Nationals.
That's what I mean. He's not. You can't trust this guy.
It wasn't him. It wasn't him on Sunday, but still, it's a situation where you're right. There's always base runners on.
Yeah. Yep. It's Craig. It's like a mini Craig Kimbrell. It's getting to the point of Craig Kimbrell.
Well, and today, one of the local radio stations had an interview with Dombrowski, and I mean, what's he going to say? Of course, he likes the chances this year better than the last 2.
Yeah, right. What's he going to say? No, I don't like our chances this year. I think last year's chances were better.
Well, he said he did say one thing that was interesting, and I don't know how true it is, but I don't know if it's for the fans or what. But he's going to be haunted for the rest of his life by those last 2 games last season against the Diamondbacks. Which, yeah, okay. And there wasn't. I mean. I guess the situation is if I was sitting down interviewing Dombrowski, I mean, you can't have an interview where you just say, okay, here's where you blew it. Okay, why are you still the GM? Because he's going to get up and walk away, obviously, from a conversation like that. But you're right. I mean, Estevez, yeah, I guess it was a move that needed to be made. But Hayes? No. Austin Hayes? No. And they needed another bat, and they needed at some point to it. And you saw this coming when Turnbull was hurt. They needed to address that 5th starter. Now, obviously, that might not come into play here in the playoffs much, but I guess my question would have been, look, you are the general manager of a baseball team. You've been to World Series. You've won World Series. You've done this your whole life. How did you not see what was going to happen with Taijuan Walker?
I don't know. I think
because you didn't go get a starter because you were relying on him.
Right. And then they stuck with him because of the money they give him.
And the other thing too is you could have asked the question with, okay, since you've been here, Ranger Suarez has been a major piece of this team. But this season, Ranger Suarez has been used more than he's ever been used, and he's out of gas. How did you not see that coming as well when he was injured going into the trade deadline?
Right. So you knew right there you needed, at least 1, possibly 2 starters.
You couldn't go get Zach Eflin? You couldn't go get Drew Smiley? Not that I think these guys were going to come in and do anything, but it's a guy who it's a situation when you run up against it, especially in a playoff series, where I mean, if I have Zach Eflin out there, then I don't know who they'd run out there. I mean, I'd rather have him out there right now than have Ranger Suarez.
Yeah, I mean, at least you know you got a shot at not getting, not giving up 5 runs in 3 innings. I mean, he's just throwing batting practice at this point.
Yeah, and that's right, because he's he's either walking guys, and if he's not walking guys, the pitches he's are getting over or are getting hit. And
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if it's an injury. I don't know if that he's pitched too much. I don't know that teams have figured things out. But my goodness, I mean,
he's just not getting the ball in the corners. He's not getting it in on lefty on righties. He's not jamming lefties. He's putting it. That's probably an injury that you can't pinpoint where he wants the ball to go.
no, and they threw him out there the other night against Washington, and the idea was go out there and show us that everything's been worked out. And yeah,
Got worked out all right.
yeah, it didn't work out. One other thing I wanted to ask you before we take a break here, when talking about the Phillies, and we had gotten away from the Eagles. They have a break. They have the bye week coming up.
Thank
I
God.
don't expect there to be any major news concerning coaches or quarterbacks or anything like that, but hopefully some guys get healthy, and we can talk about guys being healthy next week.
Yeah.
The question I wanted to ask you was, and I don't know how prepared the Phillies are to do this, but don't you think in some game, especially I would say in the Mets series, but even going forward, they're going to have to win it playing small ball at least one game, because I can't see them hitting home runs every game. And can they do that?
Depends who. I mean, a couple guys can. I guess the bottom of the order, Stott, maybe Hayes. I don't know. You know Harper. You know Schwarber can't.
Turner.
Bohm can do it a little bit. He can hit the ball the opposite way.
Turner get on base, steal one, and
I don't know about Turner. I feel like Turner tries to hit a home run every at bat.
Yeah, and I hope we don't see a situation where he's down 0-2 in the count on a regular basis. But we could see that with a lot of guys.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the other thing with the Mets series. Depends how long it goes. If the series goes longer, they're going to have to use more pitchers, and maybe you'll get a lesser pitcher on the back end than you would have. I mean, but they go with Severino today.
Yeah.
I mean, they face these guys a lot, so I mean, it's not like anything's going to be a surprise.
No, they faced them recently too a lot.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So I don't know. Wait and see, but I don't like the odds.
Nope.
And I also don't like the fact that it's the Mets. You're going to have a lot of Mets fans at Citizens Bank Park. That could be embarrassing.
Yeah, you just know it. I mean, there's going to be a ton of them there.
Absolutely.
They're making plans now.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely, and they got plenty of money.
We will take a break. We'll be back. We'll have a little bit of Flyers Sixers talk, NASCAR, and a top 10 to close it out.
Yes, sir.
What's good, everyone? It's Drosky, the host of Heart of Texas Sports on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. On this station, we cover everything in the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area. From where we cover the Dallas Cowboys, the Dallas Stars, Dallas Mavericks, Dallas Wings, Texas Rangers, TCU, SMU, we cover it all right here every Wednesdays from 9 to 10 p.m. Central Time. Make sure you stay live with me on the Heart of Texas Sports on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey, sports fans, do you like wine? Well, we've got the show for you. This is Let's Wine About Sports, a show where we talk about wine and sports simultaneously. From the classic Cabernet Sauvignon all the way down to the grapes that you've never even heard of before. Oh yeah, we cover it all. And we'll talk about a little bit of sports as well. Football, hockey, collegiate, women's sports, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it all, and we're going to whine about it all. So join me Monday at 8 p.m. on IU Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
IU Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris. We close it out here. It looks like my prediction that Mitch Cobb would not play for the Flyers was wrong, and it looks like he seems to be a guy that's going to be pretty good if he stays healthy.
Haven't seen him play yet. I don't watch preseason.
Yeah, I mean, it is preseason. He's racking up the points. He looks like he is what he's advertised to be. So that wraps up your world famous half minute. Ooh. That's about the only thing we really have to mention. Except the coach mentioned today they're going to start the season carrying 3 goalies. I never heard of such a thing.
They don't have a goaltender. It's going to be that's going to be the story of their season.
They're going to play 2 at once.
Yeah, right.
Sixers had media day.
Yes.
Not really much news to come out of it. The only thing is it coincided with the death of Dikembe Mutombo and Pete Rose.
Yeah. Frank from American Pickers died today, too.
And John Amos.
Oh,
no
really?
relation. No relation. You know who John Amos is?
I'm Coming to America. He was yes. He owned the McDonald's.
And it was on
McDowell's. And he was in Good Times, too, wasn't he?
Yes, Good Times. He was the father on Good Times, correct. Mm-hmm. I kept thinking Jimmy Walker, and I didn't get. yes, he was. Yeah. So I mean, wow! It just seems when one goes, it's 2 or 3, and
yeah. And I listened to Paul George talk at the press day. He basically admits that the Sixers aren't the best team in the East, and that the Celtics and the Bucks and the Knicks are better. So that's real good when you're a $50 million a year superstar has no confidence in his own team.
Well, at least he's being honest.
Yeah, but you're not supposed to be. You're supposed to say you're the best.
He must have listened to us last week when we laid that out.
Right. Yeah, right. What's he thinking? Some Philly sports talk? I mean, come on.
That those 3 teams are better.
Next, he was going to say, yeah, and I look forward to missing 50 games, and Joel will be out 65 games, and that'll be our season.
It probably would have been one of those things to say, yeah, when you look at it, those guys are better. But when we get to the playoffs, I expect me and Embiid to step up and carry us through. But, he
did say that. He did say that Embiid is unguardable.
And he said this is the first time he's ever played with a true point guard and true center.
Tyrese Maxey's not a true point guard.
I agree. I was trying to go back through his career. I mean, most recently, his point guard was James Harden, but
yeah, Tyrese Maxey's a 2 guard. Who was like Allen Iverson?
Who was the center on the Clippers? I watched every game and I can't even remember.
Harrell for some of the time.
Yeah, it was.
And Jordan was
Zubac?
Yeah, Zubac was out there. Jordan was out there.
Yeah, so they was
Miles Leonard.
Was
Miles Plumlee.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So he has a point there. Yeah. I don't know if those pictures were real or not of James Harden, but he looked like he's emaciated.
Yeah, I know. What is that? There's no way they were real. That had to be a fake. Well, I got to see more videos, but there's no way. He weighed like 150 pounds.
If they are, that burger that he's involved with financially, he needs to eat a few of them.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the NBA season, with the card thing and all. I'm sick of doing football cards every night, and I'm excited to get the basketball cards out. I've been buying a lot of Tyrese Maxey. I picked up a couple of Jokic cards. You know who's not big? Embiid. Embiid is not big in the card market at all. The card market.
Is Curry big?
Yeah, people ask for Curry. The older Curry cards are worth a ton. Jason Tatum he's like one of the big ones. They're really into the younger guys. The guy out who?
Wembyamba.
Oh, Wemby, yeah, he's all they ask for. His market's come down a little bit. The guy out in Utah, Keontae George, for some reason gets a ton of value on him for some reason. They say he's going to be good. And Cam Whitmore in Houston, his stuff goes for money. I'm like $95 for a Cam Whitmore. He played for Villanova.
If you ask me to start naming Rockets, I'm not going to get to him for a while.
They have a good team.
Even right now, yeah. Oh, they do. I mean, though
they're young. I think they can make the playoffs. They're like Oklahoma City in a way.
I think too. I think they can make the playoffs as well.
Yeah.
So before we move on here, if you had to pick an NBA Finals right now, who do you pick?
Oh, wow. I haven't given that much thought. I mean, I think you have to go Boston in the East, no doubt. They have the same team and they're defending champions. Wow, the West. Oh, geez. I just don't think Oklahoma City has it. Denver may rebound. I don't know. Dallas is still good. That's tough. Who do you think in the West?
Oklahoma City.
I think the finals?
I do. I think the Western Conference Finals, believe it or not, it's going to be Oklahoma City against Golden State.
I kind of like what Minnesota did.
Yeah, a surprise move there.
They got more athletic is what they did. They added Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo. They already have Anthony Edwards. I think that's what they want to do. They want to play a more up-tempo game. That's why they unloaded Karl Anthony Towns. He's slow.
The up-tempo game would keep them up with Dallas. It would keep them up with Golden State. It would be able – Denver doesn't play much up-tempo, so if you can force them to –
They can't because of Jokic.
Right. That puts you above them, so that's got to be their thinking.
Yeah.
Did you see much of the race this weekend?
Not one lap.
Staff, put up there where the race is coming this weekend, please. I was able to watch most of it, and it was a good race. I was surprised Larson went out early. He didn't go out, but he had a tire issue, kind of took him out of the race.
Right.
And the watermelon got smashed at the end. So
what I saw, I mean, he's a guy that's been running good, so I'm not surprised. Not surprised. I mean, I think he was due to win one.
And I don't think this changed much in the way of the playoffs going forward.
I don't know. I was stuck at work. It was a bad Sunday for me.
Well, it actually turned out pretty good for you. I mean, you did miss the race, but then you didn't have to pay much attention to that Eagles game. That just
I was watching play-by-play, but I knew it early on. It's over. Right down the field. Evans, Godwin. It was.
Staff, where's the race this weekend? Oh, the staff is working on it. She'll have it up here in a minute as we move into some pop culture and top 10. So obviously you've been working a lot. So I'm guessing you haven't watched anything recently.
Jersey Shore.
Oh wow! I watched that back. I watched that back in the day.
It's still on.
I know.
They're at Talladega this weekend.
There you go.
Unpredictable. Justin Haley. I always throw his name out.
Eric Jones or
yeah.
Who knows? Austin Dillon might be in there.
Right.
You could have anybody from that one.
Absolutely.
Jersey Shore. Yeah, I that's one of those where it's in the back of my mind. Someday I'm going to click on, what they have on demand or something, because I remember watching it years and years and years ago.
It's called Family Vacation, though.
Yeah, and guess you get to see them as they've grown up and
they haven't grown up.
Right. I watched one thing that was we'll talk about for a minute. And I watched a decent movie. It's called Snow Falls. Two different words. Snow Falls. Interesting.
It sure does.
Interesting movie. It's not snow falling on cedars if you run into that when you're looking for it. Even though I would recommend that movie, I'd recommend the book more than the movie.
I'm getting the thumbs down from the staff. I don't know if I could trust these Chris Amos movies anymore.
Snow Falls?
You had me bored out of my mind on the one with the neighbor.
I really enjoyed the slow burn in that, and then just.
But it never got quick. It never picked up.
All right, I need some people out there to watch this movie, The Neighbor, and give me some feedback on social media and here on the show. About
don't be tired when you go start watching it.
All right. Well, Snow Falls, I think, will keep you more interested. I think.
Oh, the thumbs down was for my joke. For Snow Falls. Sorry. Go ahead. What's it about?
It's about a group of college students who go to a cabin over New Year's, and they lose power, and things start to go sideways.
Okay, your typical horror movie.
And see how they
like it.
They react to it. Yep.
Okay.
And I thought it was going to be that typical horror movie, but it turned into more of some. How do I put it? A psychological thriller to a point.
Okay.
And I really liked it, so that means Bobby's going to be bored.
They're going to end up in the woods at some point? No. Of course they are.
No, they're not.
They're in a cabin. They have to end up in the woods.
Well, to a point. but not completely.
All right, top 10 time.
I got one other thing I want to throw out there real quick.
Okay.
I watched the Vince McMahon documentary on Netflix.
Oh, how about that?
6 episodes.
That's the one where he cries with everybody with the meme?
I didn't see him cry, but it might have been some things going around about it, because I know he tried to buy it and didn't want it to be shown.
Oh.
I didn't learn anything.
Well, you know a lot to begin with, though.
No, I mean it was a lot of stuff that if you're a wrestling fan, you already knew. And to me, when they put this together, I mean, if you watch it, and if anybody out there watches it, I mean, you can give me your opinion on it and going back and forth, but it's too disjointed. I mean, they go from one topic to the next topic to the next topic.
Right.
And it's like, wait a minute, you're just moving too fast. If you haven't kept up with it, this isn't going to be a documentary for you. And the thing is, it was before the most recent stuff.
Right.
So they had to add that in. Yeah. In 5 minutes, when we close the show, we will be followed here by the Neutral Zone, who will get you ready for everything coming up hockey. And I'm ready for hockey. I got the Flyers hat on tonight. But here is the top 10 for this week. And I think, Bobby, you will enjoy this one. And it came off of something that they were talking about Sunday night.
Okay.
Sunday night on the NFL game, a lot of it was being talked about Derrick Henry.
Oh.
Now, I don't have anybody currently playing, and all I did was, without looking or just off the top of my head, you'll obviously are going to do the same thing. Top 10 running backs of all time.
Oh, okay.
Nobody who's currently playing. So obviously they wanted to put Derrick Henry into the conversation, which you may be able to in a year.
Okay. Well, luckily we only have a couple minutes, so I should be able to reel them off pretty quick. Number one, in my opinion, is Barry Sanders.
Mine too.
Okay. Number 2 will be Walter Payton.
Absolutely.
Good. We're 2 for 2.
I was going to do top 10 running backs minus these guys who are obvious, but I didn't.
Okay, that's no, you can't minus them. Emmitt Smith will be 3.
He's 4 on my list.
Okay. OJ Simpson.
OJ is 8.
Okay. That'll start to get a little tough. How about Thurman Thomas?
Number 10. Good,
because he could catch the ball. I'm glad he's there. Yeah, he belongs there.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah. Quickly it gets tough here. There won't be any Eagles on the list unless you have Ricky Waters.
I do.
He won't make the list. Any Giants? No. Ernest Biner.
No, Tiki Barber is not on the list.
Oh, we're in the chat. We have people in the chat guessing. Yeah, feel free to throw some people in the chat. Have some guesses.
Running backs of all time.
Top 10 running backs of all time.
Nobody currently playing.
Right. Let's go. Well, yeah, Henry. How about that Chris Johnson? No, he didn't play long enough. He was good.
Good, but not on my list.
Okay. No Chiefs. Christian Okoye was a good running back for a short period of time.
Was.
Um,
And see, I didn't put Bo Jackson on the list too, even though
right, he didn't play long enough.
It wasn't long enough.
You have Roger Craig on the list?
I do not.
Marcus Allen?
I do not.
Okay.
Marcus Allen could easily make the list, I believe, on some people's top 10. Yeah, if it went top 11.
I got one that should be on the list. LaDainian Tomlinson.
Absolutely. He is number 7.
Yeah, he was a great running back for the Chargers and the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going through teams at this. Oh, how about Eric Dickerson?
Is not on my list.
Oh.
Eric Dickerson, he was good, and it was short. It was a handful of years, and he was really good. I'll give once we get to this list, you tell me where who he would replace.
Okay, who's number 3?
I mean, you can make an argument for him.
Who am I missing at number 3? What team are we looking at here?
Older.
Older what?
He's an older player.
Oh,
much older.
Jim Brown.
Correct.
Okay, never saw him play, obviously.
Yeah, right. But and arguably, a lot of people would put him number 1.
Mm-hmm.
But I put him 3 because, like you're saying, we never really saw him play.
You have Earl Campbell. Earl Campbell on the list.
Campbell is number 9. So you're only missing 2.
Oh.
Colts.
Oh, I said Eric there. Oh, Marshall Faulk.
Correct.
Yeah, Rams and Colts. Yeah.
And as soon as I give you the team, the name's going to come out. The Minnesota Vikings.
Oh, geez, who am I missing here? Herschel Walker?
Nope. We've stumped Bobby.
Robert Smith. Whatever.
Recent.
Oh, Adrian Peterson.
Correct. See, that's why we do these lists, because it's a lot of fun. And as you can see, we don't plan ahead.
Yeah.
Bobby doesn't know the topic. Bobby.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's my list. Barry Sanders 1, Walter Payton 2, Jim Brown 3, Emmitt Smith 4, Marshall Faulk 5, Adrian Peterson 6, LaDainian Tomlinson 7, OJ 8, Earl Campbell 9, Thurman Thomas 10.
I'd say that's the first list ever where I actually named them all with a little help, but I got them all.
Yeah, and you named a couple guys who you could put in there Eric Dickerson, and you could take out Earl Campbell. You could put
just the guys I didn't see. Sure. Yeah.
Marcus Allen maybe instead of Thurman Thomas. You can go back and forth on those, but
right.
No Eagles this week. Interesting race at Talladega, and oh my,
go Phillies.
We'll be coming on, and it could be an elimination game for one team next week.
I hope not, but we'll see then.
The Phillies play 4:00 Saturday and Sunday, so catch us on social media. Check out our show. We'll be back next week. Good night, everyone.
Good night.